This episode is brought to you by Olive & June.
And I'm a brand new fan of Olive & June because we're going to be talking about their gel polishes, which we're really excited to get. But prior to even this, like 2 weekends ago, Mats and I were out and he treated me to 2 Olive & June polishes that I painted my toes, and they look so good.
I love painting my nails at home. As you know, Olive & June delivers up to 21 days of flawless wear with a high gloss shine that won't chip, lift, or dull. There's no damaging removal thanks to their new peel-off base coat and salon speed soak-off system. Say goodbye to the drama of gel removal.
Olive & June's new gel mani system includes everything you need for a salon quality manicure in one box. And you can customize it with your choice of 6 gel polishes, which breaks down to less than $2 a manicure. There's a custom 5-finger LED lamp and the iconic poppy for easy painting with your non-dominant hand.
They also have a high-performance cleaner solution, HEMA-free, 15-free, and always cruelty-free and vegan.
I used to be a huge salon manicure kind of girl. Like, I was getting my gel every couple weeks, and I have to say, like, when I stopped doing that, I realized how much more of my life I had back.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I used to think that going to get a manicure and pedicure was relaxing, but I don't know what happened in the last few years, but
it was a sudden shift.
It does not feel relaxing anymore. It just kind of feels like I'm being pushed around and I have to leave. And that is why I switched to doing my nails at home.
I have to say, I think I'm probably the most excited for the peel off base coat, because that has been like the thing that has stopped me prior to this from getting into doing an at-home gel manicure.
Yeah, my nails actually got pretty damaged too because of all the scraping. And I asked him to stop doing that at the nail salon, and they're pretty resistant to that. So I like that I can be at home and, control that myself. I'm also really looking forward to all the shades that they have. They have 60 plus best-selling colors.
I'm so excited. CV red is like that, like perfect orangey red, which is like my favorite shade to wear.
Visit oliveandjune.com/blame me for 20% off your first Olive & June gel mani system.
That's OLIVEAND.com/BLAMEME for 20% off your first Olive & June gel mani system. Hell the fucko.
Okay.
Fucking hello. Welcome to the podcast.
Coming in lukewarm.
I just want everybody to have the satisfaction of the reason why this podcast is rated explicit right off the start. Your kid's in the car and you're like, God damn it, Megan. Welcome to But Am I Wrong? A podcast starring 2 people who've never been wrong. Melisa, Diamond, Mats, and me, Megan Ranks. Woo!
You weren't going to give your full name?
No, because I have a hard time saying my middle name with only one of my last names, because I technically have 2 last names, but I never go by Megan Rose Ranks. Like, that just sounds odd. Like, then I go by Megan Ranks or like my full name.
Mm-hmm. You used to go by Megan Rosette.
Megan Rosette here, reporting for duty with my blue Tiffany blue room with my brown accent wall. Like in high school or middle school, or like, did you have a room that was like painted after you stopped? Because you stopped moving after.
I stopped moving, but I was so used to having white walls that I didn't. That's why we never painted. We never really hung up pictures. We were very minimalist before people were talking about minimalism, because we moved so much. And also when people walk into a house that has pictures of Black people hanging up, the value of houses goes down. So we never hung pictures.
It's a court case in Marin right now.
Yeah. So this is odd. When I went to college, but then came back home during the summer, I painted my room like a seafoam green.
Of course.
And it was the only painted room in our whole house. But I loved it.
There was the colors in middle school or high school that people painted. It was like that Tiffany blue, a seafoam green. Some people were like purple or pink.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I actually take that back. Melanie did paint her room. She was at home. It was pink.
Cute. One of my friends, her mom was an artist. And so she had like a literal like sunset cloud mural of like her favorite colors in her room. Sydney had like because her dad is like, he's like an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Jerry rebelled and had an entire wall that she like pinned up photos of Justin Bieber, like floor to ceiling. Like it looked like an episode of Hoarders. Like it was a lot. But they were very much like, they always had like beautiful furniture, like very nicely styled. And like the kids always had taste because like their parents, have taste. But Sydney's room growing up was burnt orange. And I was like, what fucking like 8-year-old is like, I love this burnt sienna color. It was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But like everyone else had lime green rooms. And she was out here with her burnt orange and her like Restoration Hardware, like rustic dresser. And like, it was just like, I was like, this is so chic. Her parents are like, Pottery Barn kids? Nah, that's not the look we're going for. So fucking funny. But I had 3 different bedrooms in my house. Like I not at the same time, but like I moved between them because once I was allowed to move rooms, once I could stop having, this is so on brand for me. I had to have a gate on my bed up until...
Did you fall out of your bed?
Every night. If I didn't have that, I would roll off my bed. And I had a gate up there up until probably 6th grade. I would roll off.
How big was your bed?
A twin. And I was, I'm like a decent sized human. And so like I'm long, I'm lengthy. And then when I moved to my to an upstairs bedroom after that, which then I had a trundle bed that for a while I would just sleep with the trundle out. So if I fell off.
Yeah, so you just roll into the next bed.
Exactly. I definitely had sleepovers where I rolled onto my friends and I'd be like, oh, my bad.
You should take the low end of the trundle.
I probably should have. I think I maybe did after a while. But yeah, then I did, each wall was painted a different like pastel color. I was very into it. But everybody comment on the Instagram post that we just posted what your middle school / high school room color was, because I feel like it's an identifying personality trait. Like the people who had like the hot pink and like zebra themed room, or like the purple and black like Paris themed room, like it's a whole style.
I did put up a lot of posters of boy bands and things like that.
JT.
So, yeah. Well, when I was in that age of putting up posters, I wasn't a JT fan yet.
What were your things?
I had a lot of Backstreet Boys. I did have NSYNC, but it was before I liked Justin Timberlake.
Okay, he was in NSYNC, not Backstreet Boys. Okay.
Wow.
Sorry.
I had a Britney and Christina, like all the hits from the time. Tyra Banks was up there.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. This was before America's Next Top Model, so it was just modeling. So
it was modeling without the problematic part of it.
Also, that was when the Got Milk campaign was hot, and so it was mostly the Got Milk posters.
I still think those are so fucking weird.
They are weird. Big Milk was like, you know what? We need to get all these people that are in the pop culture zeitgeist and paint fake milk mustaches on them. And this is a thing. And it was like a huge thing.
Huge. Yeah. They like brought it back recently too for like a small era. We've talked about it on this podcast before when you came after Big Milk.
What are those things called where people just like stick up posters on the side of buildings?
Are there names for that?
Yeah, there's a name, but I don't know what it is. But anyway, there was one talking about Big Milk, but then a car drove next to me, so I couldn't take a picture of it. But it was funny.
Yeah, they see you, you see them. It's a whole conversation.
Right.
Speaking of conversations, this is a podcast. You know that. You clicked on this. But am I wrong? Where we tell you, like the title says, if you were wrong. We'll tell each other if we were wrong. We will also tell celebrities and current events, pop culture events, people, if they were wrong. They're definitely not listening unless Lena Dunham has decided to like search her name and somewhere and find all of the negative things people have said about her. We are going to decide who's the hero and villain in each of the stories. If you want to submit for the But Are You Wrong segment, send us an email over at butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. Keep it under 300 words. And if you have someone you want us to nominate for Rachel of the Week, aka But Are They Wrong, the pop culture, current event shit, tag us on whether it's like a TikTok or on Twitter, Instagram, send us a message and let us know. We've gotten a lot of those. The one that I have picked for this week is actually one that someone tagged me in.
Oh, cool.
And I appreciate it. For every episode, you can vote on who you think was wrong if you head on over to our Instagram. And These episodes go up on Thursday, and we usually have the votes up by Friday. If not, they're up before Monday. And we have highlights. So because the stories are very long, they don't always show up for that 24 hours, all of them in sequence on like just the stories feed. So head on over to the highlights. You got 24 hours to vote, and that's what you need to follow. So you can know when they're up so you can vote in them. And then we will read the results right now. Yeah. Would you like to kick us off?
I will. Melisa versus delivery people coming 5 hours early. 7% said that I was wrong. 93% said I was not wrong.
I didn't like the people arguing with you about this.
Yeah, me either. Because they said I should have called when they got there, called the company. And I said the reason why I said they were wrong is because they lied. I couldn't predict that they were going to lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't like it. Next up is me versus International Women's Day. 96% said I was not wrong and 4% said I was wrong. I did get a chunk of people who are saying that they are in different countries and they had no idea that it wasn't like predominantly used as like a day of protest or anything political with like that change behind it. And they were like, wait, I had no idea that it really wasn't that, because like that's how it's used where I live. And I was like, yeah, I didn't know that that's how it was used in other places until I looked it up. America.
Yeah, I mean, we were one of the last countries that, see themselves as the rulers of Earth that was like, we should even make this an International Women's Day. And it came from, like I told in the last episode, a woman that's not even, at the time, she wasn't even American. So,
yeah. And leave it to America to hallmark everything and monetize it. See it through a capitalist lens.
Writer number 1 versus grandma who says they didn't pay back money. Who is wrong? 4% said the writer, 96% said grandma. Great picture.
Thank you. Everyone go look, even if you've already missed voting, because it is a great photo. Next up, we have writer number 2 versus the friend who bought concert tickets without her consent. Who is wrong? 3% said the writer and 97% said the friend. Some people did reach out and they were like, oh my gosh, I do this for my friends, but it's only like $25, like blah, blah, blah. I personally think that like, unless you have had like a conversation that it goes back and forth where it's like, oh, like I these concert we want to go to and blah, blah, blah. But if you're constantly springing $25 expenses on people without like having cleared ahead of time that they're like, anytime you see a concert that we want to go to, like just buy the tickets, like I'll pay you back. It'll be great. Like blah, blah, blah. I would also probably still get annoyed.
Yep. I agree. I think that if you're going to do something like that, you should be prepared to eat the cost.
Always. It's like loaning money. You know?
If you don't have it, then don't loan it.
If
you don't have it, don't buy it.
Yep.
Writer number 3 versus leading on boy in, quotes, that tried to force the writer into a relationship. Who was wrong? 2% said the writer, 98% said the boy.
Hoping that these were some incorrect votes, but again, as we say, if you voted wrong, let us know. And also, if you voted what is considered the vast unpopular opinion, I would love to hear the reasoning. Why? Next up, we have writer number 4 versus boyfriend who went on their usual couple date with his online friend. 6% said the writer was wrong and 94% said the boyfriend was wrong. We got an update for this. Let me find it.
Oh, I missed this.
Hi, I'm the one who wrote this one. To clarify/update, he went with his college roommate. So 10 years of friendship. He just lives about an hour away and life is busy, so it's hard for them to coordinate hanging out in person. Hence the online hangouts. We talked about it and he didn't realize that I valued going together as much as I did. And the pot pie is only Tuesdays, which is why he wanted to take his friend that day. I just felt upset because we planned to go together and he changed the plan the same day. But we're all good and make a point to have a dedicated weekly date, even if it's not Tuesday. And thanks for hearing my submission. I love hearing your unbiased feedback. Makes way more sense. It's not like her boyfriend's just like trolling on Reddit and like befriending like strangers and taking them to pie.
That would have been valuable information to know, though.
True.
So our mutual wrong of the week, Jane Campion, who's wrong. 97% said Jane, 3% said Jane is not wrong.
I also hated the people being like, I just think that she was nervous and blah, blah. I hate, no.
Yeah. No. Why would you bring them into the conversation? Of all the people that are there, why would you bring them into the conversation?
And in that way.
Yeah, in a category that doesn't even make sense for comparison.
Exactly. I'm like, if you're like starstruck by them and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm accepting this award in front of like Venus and Serena. Like, I just like, this is wild. Like, oh my gosh, like blah, blah, blah. I loved their mood. Like, I loved that they were able to share their story for King Richard. Like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, that's the word vomit. If you get up there and you're so obsessed with them and you're so starstruck, it's complimentary.
Right.
You know, like this whole notion of like, you know, and it's white women defending her. And this notion of like, obviously the big thing that everyone says, like intent versus impact, but also that like your internal bias, you somehow just don't have that. And you don't have those like microaggressions that you would do or anything like that, that like you should just assume that people have wonderful and great intentions, even though that is like nothing of what they said and like nothing of what they did. It's like, instead of listening to what they said, think of like the exact opposite of that. And that's probably what it was. And it's like, but there's no evidence of that. Like, why? No, just apologize and just be like, I fucked up. I can't. And if you're defending that, you're also just probably doing that in your own life. Okay.
And then we've got Tim Leisner, Kimora Lee Simmons, soon to be ex-husband, for our Rachel of the Week. And we said 99% Tim is wrong, 1% Tim is not wrong.
Did you see the update? I mean, it's not like he messaged us, but like, like it was something in the news that happened. Let me pull this up. This one is from their divorce trial, but this is like ex-Goldman's banker's wife created shell company to launder millions. So Tim Lessinger was this guy's boss. And like that is a part of this thing too. So like, I don't know if he's in a divorce case and also like a money laundering embezzlement case at the same time, or if they're
tied together.
Yeah.
Oh, here's on his Wikipedia. It says that he pled guilty to, he stole $200 million from Malaysian sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah, it says here that he had a $41,000 per month side gig that he never disclosed.
And he's been banned for life from the Securities and Exchange Commission and forced to pay a $43 million fine. And he faces up to 25 years in prison and testified against his former deputy, Roger NG, in a trial. And he's portrayed in a book, $1 Billion Whale, The Man Who Fooled Wall Street, Hollywood, and the World. So he's a scammer.
Can you just imagine that on top of all this coming out, like you have to like tell a court that you also catfished? Like they're like, oh my gosh, you are also just embarrassed. Like this is so embarrassing for you.
Yeah.
His lawyer's probably like, oh, and then you did what? Oh, and here's the thing. All of this keeps coming out week to week to week. So like, who knows if more is going to come out?
The New York Times, ex-Goldman Sachs banker testifies in one MDB trial, says he lied a lot. That's the quote.
You don't say. That's so funny.
Yeah, so there's two separate trials going on.
Well, if anything else happens, we will keep you all updated on the embarrassments of Tim's L's, Tim's public L's. I wonder if he has kids.
I don't know if they have kids together, but he does have 2 kids.
Okay.
According to his Wikipedia.
Too fucking funny. So it's just like he's... First, I've never heard of this man in my life, and he's having a time. He's going through it.
Yeah. It wasn't his former wife a like billionaire too?
I think so.
Like an heiress or something. Yeah.
Okay. Then my wrong of the week / Rachel of the week was the Bob Saget death conspirators. 98% said everybody with these conspiracy theories are wrong, and 2% said the conspiracists are not wrong. I will say that, you know, heart goes out to Bob Saget's family, who now is also being used in tweets and shit that is completely unrelated to this, where thank God that those photos and all of that shit didn't get released, because even without all of that, people are still finding a way to bring up his death.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we are going to move on to the But Am I Wrong segment, where we each essentially pitch each other our hot takes or things that have happened in the past week, and we will ask the other one if, hey, do you think I'm wrong? And then again, you will head on over and vote on the Instagram stories. I guess it's my turn to go first. And this is a hot take.
Okay.
I've kind of dabbled in this hot take. I don't even know, like, we've dabbled in this hot take, like talking about it together. I don't know if we've ever talked about like, or alluded to some of this on the podcast. I might have talked about like alluded to this a little bit, but my hot take is the anti-mommy vlogger and mom creator platform. People who are so against that actually does more harm than good. Mm-hmm. And it is, first of all, I just want to say that I am not for exploiting your children by any means. I'm not for it in any realm when it comes to like child actors. I'm not for it when it comes to any child who is too young to make the choice or to choose a job and like to work and make money and perform. And even if a child actor or like someone wants to do that stuff, like not having the family rely on that income or anything like that. Like, I think that there's also, you know, there's a privilege when it comes to being a child actor that like, you know, you have to have a parent quit their job and like do all this and blah, blah, blah. But there have been, with the start of like the rise of TikTok, there's like the whole genre of people putting their kids on TikTok. And we've talked about this before. And naturally, there is like a life cycle of fandoms where you like go from absolutely loving someone and standing someone, and then you go to like absolutely hating them and trolling them. And mommy vloggers and people who put their moms who put their kids online, their comment sections and the hate they get compared to men who do that with their kids don't receive any of it. There's so much sexism rooted in the desire to like take down these people, and they put it under the guise of like protecting these children and that they're preventing like abuse. And I think that like if a parent is abusing their child, yes, please report that. But when you call having a kid do a video on YouTube and you're calling that like not even YouTube, but like you're having like a kid who's like participating in like whatever, or someone like having a video of them like feeding their baby, and you're calling them recording a video and posting it online of their kid not doing anything embarrassing or bad, just like living their life, and their kid just happens to be in that, and you call that abuse. I think that it just diverts a lot of attention and kind of minimizes like real abuse that is happening and going on. And there are so many children who are being abused and are in horrible situations. But when people latch onto these famous people who show these pictures of their kids or whatever, and it's just about protecting those kids. And then it also feels like the same fan behavior, that they're upset with people being so obsessed with these kids. But then they in turn become so obsessed with hating these like families, these moms or whatever. Instead, I think if you are so anti having people make content involving their underage kids, regardless of what again, I'm saying like if the content is not abusive or harmful, it's just the act of them being there on camera. I think that the tactic needs to be addressing people who watch those videos in the audience, because when you come after the people creating that, all you then do is make those content creators bitter, more angry, and want to prove you wrong. And then they overhaul in doing all of this kind of shit. When I think like the conversation needs to be that like we need to be more conscious about the content that we consume. And as consumers, we should be understanding that more, versus villainizing like individuals and people who are making content with their kids on it. Don't watch it. And if there's like talk to their, like if you're trying to get someone to stop making videos, and this is the other part I've seen, is that like even when those people stop making videos, that hate doesn't stop. They're still obsessed with finding out what they're doing now. They're still this, and this. And it becomes like this isn't about protecting kids or anything like that, because there's nothing that this person could do that would satiate you. Mm-hmm. You have a specific fascination with this specific person, not the concept. You're not trying to pass legislation. Like you're not calling your senators and being like, you shouldn't be allowed to post children here. You're not calling like platforms and doing all of that. It's like an obsession with these people. And I think that that is equally as unsettling as people who are positively obsessed with a family channel or a family content creator and their kids. I think the people who hate them are a little scarier, because it's still a personal obsession. It's just on the negative side. And I just don't like it. And, you know, I obviously don't want people to take advantage of their kids in that way and like monetize them and do all of this stuff where it's like centered on their kids. Because like, yeah, I'm sure psychologically not great once those kids grow up. And I'm sure there's going to be things that they deal with. But I think that like when you essentially berate specifically the mom who is doing that over and over and over again, all you're ensuring is that that kid now has a mom who is like bitter and hates the world. And that is going to affect her relationship with her kids far more than it is going to necessarily make her stop making videos, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. What you were saying about how people treat the moms versus the dads, it reminded me of this comic that I saw that I don't know how to pronounce the name correctly, but it looks like Shawnee Brucey, CHAUNIBRUSIE. But they have this comic called that's like Mom versus Dad. And it has like a dad at the park with his kids and he's on the phone, and then a mom at the park at the kids and she's on her phone, and like people are gossiping like, wow, what a good dad taking his kids to the park, when the mom's on the phone, wow, she's not even watching her kids. It's like that same energy that people just put fathers on a different pedestal, a different way that people judge, because they feel like mom should always be there, and then dads, anything they do is just bonus. And so, yeah, I don't think you're wrong. The internet is still relatively new, and people, especially the video components and sharing your lives, and people still don't exactly know how to balance what should be on the internet. There's still a lot of judgment that goes into that. This is only the I guess we're going into third generation of, actually, I think it's more second generation of having kids that are like putting because like millennials were really putting themselves on the internet, but now it's the kids of that putting on the internet. So I think in 10, 15 years, it'll be just the norm and people won't be as judgmental. But right now, people are being super judgmental on that.
Yeah. And I also think it needs to be addressed, the origin of why people post content on the internet and why especially women are doing this. It's because a lot of the time the women are at home by themselves all day with these kids with no adult interaction, and they have no community. They might not have people who like live near them, especially like first time moms, and they're at home with a fucking baby all the time. And so like there is this need for connection. And I think a lot of the time people think that the origin of people who are making like mom content or whatever, it's because like, oh, they're just trying to like make money. Okay, here's the thing. I'm sure if you see someone who is like late stage in the game, has like a bunch of kids and has like done this for years, has like family by, has friends by, has like all of this, and like has a very supportive from the outside, even that can be an incredibly lonely experience. But the reason why you go to the internet is for connection and relatability and to like meet people who can like understand you. And it's the same thing that's like, I give so much shit about the MLM community, but I don't give shit about the people who get swindled into it, because there's a reason why they target stay-at-home moms. It's because like there's this like feeling of like, I don't have a purpose, because also men believe, or in traditionally this idea that like, oh, I'm the man in this cis hetero relationship and I'm going to work, and the wife stays home with the kids, which that, as if that's not a full-time job.
Right.
You know? And so like the reason why people start doing this is not always as nefarious as people think. And like, yeah, there are some people who are absolutely horrible and horrendous. But if you just start attacking every single parent who puts their kid online and you are calling like it abuse, then the stuff that's actually happening where parents are putting videos of their children online in very indecent outfits and they're aware that they're being used on like nefarious sites and all of that, that gets overshadowed by people being upset that a mom is formula feeding her baby. When you're calling both of those things abuse, one of those things is then becoming like, you hear someone be like, oh, formula feeding is abuse. And you're like, well, it's not abuse. And then you hear like, oh yeah, this mom is like posting like very like sexualized photos of their kid that's being used on like child pornography websites. And you're like, oh, well, it's not abuse. Because it just becomes like, when you call these things the same thing, you devalue both of the meaning of that for both of those instances. And yeah, and I mean, we've talked about this offline, but I think one specific thing that it's like, if you still hear all of this and you're like, I don't think so. If you look at the fact that there is a guy who has a podcast called the Dad Challenge podcast, where he has literally made his money on calling out people who put their kids online And he makes videos about that. So like you're monetizing the negativity around that. So if that whole thing blew up and went away, which he's saying is his goal, I'm like, then what's your job?
Right.
Like, then what are you doing? Like, you're making money off of this. And he's also specifically coming after moms. And he is also, you know, he's one of the Canadian convoy dudes and has a bunch of problematic views. So, and I think the true solution to all of this is, you know, having like, you know, equal pay, having people like women have access to like childcare, also having like better birth control access and all of this kind of stuff where it's like you're going to have people who don't necessarily feel that the only way that they can make a connection with people is online, and having it so they're supportive, whether it's financially through the entire pregnancy, if they don't want to carry a pregnancy, so they're not home by themselves. You know what I mean? Like there's all of this stuff. Like people get upset with teen moms for making teen mom YouTube channels. And I go, how else the fuck do you think that these 16-year-olds think that they can make money being at home with their kid? Like until we have resources across the board for people who are like carrying pregnancies or getting pregnant, having like this extreme form of judgment to how they provide for their children, you know, you're doing more harm than good. You're just going to have these people come back at it and you're making their parents angry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Very good topic.
I think about this one a lot. You
know, the two things I've been thinking about, not as deep as yours, but I was watching Bridgerton this weekend and I was thinking about how much they smell and they're just okay with it. It's just like people of that time period just smelled all the time. And then I was also thinking about how up until, I mean, it's actually still going on. It's just more regulated. How just like people are just walking around high all the time because medicines just had like cocaine and MDMA and just like regular like cough medicine or just like, this is what we use because we're feeling sad. We're just going to put heroin in here. So cough medicine's just like heroin. So these are things that I was just thinking about a lot this weekend.
Hey, Bridgerton will do that to you.
Yeah.
I have not watched it, but I have watched Trixie and Katya watch it. And I watch them watch it on Netflix. And they brought up the same thing. They're like, all these people smell so bad.
Really?
Like, they're just stinky.
Yeah.
I was like, valid. They are. Beautiful dresses, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to a Bridgerton ball this Friday.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
But what are you going to wear?
I bought a dress. We'll see what it looks like. It hasn't come yet. It'll be here today.
Wait, I'm so excited. Yeah. Are you going to wear gloves?
Mm-hmm. Of course. I'm going to wear gloves because I don't want to touch anything. So
good call.
Yeah. I also got I'm wearing, of course, my regular mask, but then I've got like a gold satin thing to put over it, so I'll be protected.
Holy shit, this is I better see pictures.
You'll see pictures. So my turn. Mine's gonna be very easy, not really any explanation to it. So someone sent me a message last week and was like, hey, I want to put you in contact with this one person. Can I give them your contact information? I guess I didn't respond fast enough because, I mean, I was working, and an hour after they sent the message, I had phone calls from this person they were trying to connect me to. So they gave them my contact information without me okaying them to give me the contact information. Also, this person, it's not really a benefit to me, so I'm not seeing why it was more a benefit for them.
Like a favor?
Yeah, and so I'm not seeing why they would just go ahead and give my contact information out, and I don't want to talk to this person. So am I wrong for not responding back when I did want to respond in the first place? It's more of me just being petty because I'm like, my information was given out and I didn't want it given out. So am I wrong for being petty?
Not at all. I think that like I've had so many people who like will be like friends of friends, or like my friends will be like, oh, so-and-so wants to reach out or blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, no, don't give my contact, or yes, go for it, or whatever. But also like said friends will also filter that, where it's like, they will tell the other person like, oh yeah, like let me like, or like, oh, you know, like they're not really doing that thing anymore. Like you should try blah, 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 or blah, blah. But it is 2022. If you need to contact someone, there's a reason there's public contact information. Right. Instagram DMs, email that you see in there, looking up a person and then looking up their email on their LinkedIn. Like when people try and use like that personal connection, you can use that personal connection in an opening of an email that you found that is public, that I assume people like you are going to find it. But like, no, you don't get to do that if it's like a phone number or something that's not out there. Like that makes you look bad who's reaching out too. Like makes me not want to respond to you.
Right.
No, you're not wrong at all.
Okay.
I absolutely hate that shit, like just in general, even when it's something that like, you know, I could do or I'm okay with like whatever, but it's always like a favor and it's always like something that they would pay anyone else to do to like consult or like just to ask questions or like pick your brain about something. And when it's a friend, I'm like, yes, I want to see you succeed. Great, wonderful. Or if it's like someone who like, this could be a mutually beneficial partnership and like you have like you do something really interesting like that I could use like your experience with. But otherwise it's just like, this is unpaid charity work.
Exactly.
And then you feel like you have to like be good and like do it because you have an obligation because it's like you have a mutual friend or you have someone that you like might actually care about.
Yeah. But it's like you couldn't just wait till I responded. You just gave my information out after you asked.
Why'd you even ask?
Right.
Because you clearly weren't actually asking for my permission because you didn't get it and you didn't care. Not wrong, not wrong.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, now it is time for our But Are You Wrong segment. And this is where we read the email submissions from all of you and we let you know if we think that you are wrong. And like I said at the beginning, send it on over to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. Got to keep it under 300 words. Just copy, paste it into a word count.
Yeah. I feel like people don't know that they can do this.
On Google.
If you're sending it straight from your phone, this is where I'm seeing a lot of it when people are sending it through email from their phone. Download the Google Drive app, type into Google Docs, and then go up and look at word count. Click on that and you can see how many words. You can also click on it to like always show the word count and you can see as you're typing what the word count is. Please do that and that will save you time and us time.
You can even just Google word count and then go to any of those websites, copy and paste what you're going to say in there and it will tell you how many words it is. Because we're not going to summarize these things. So yeah, when you are sending the submissions, we ask for as much information and detail as possible because it helps us accurately say if we might miscast you, the hero or the villain, depending on the information that you give us. So I guess I'll kick it off. Hi, Eminem. Names have been changed. Me, 28, she, her. My fiance, Dave, 29, he, him. My brother, Jordan, 24, he, him. And my sister-in-law, Bella, 24, she, her. Dave and I wanted a September wedding, but our dream venue only does October through May. As a compromise, we want to do the first weekend of October. Where we live, October gets twice as much rain as September does, so pushing it further into a month is not ideal. We would rather change venues. If we go ahead with the first weekend of October, this would be on Bella's 27th birthday. When Jordan and Bella got engaged, we found out through a Facebook post and had no formal roles in their wedding. We were not part of the wedding planning. Jordan and Bella's wedding planning was chaotic, and the actual wedding day was also chaotic. As we expected, we got called to do a ton of running around the morning of to help them out, which we did because we love them, but had moments of annoyance with them and generally felt left out of their wedding. I feel like the grown-up thing to do is ask them about the date, but I really worry that they will make a fuss no matter how nicely I try to explain the situation. And then I would be stuck either going against their wishes by booking the date or changing my date because they are being fussy. But on the other hand, if I just book it and I don't say anything and then play dumb, when they get to save the date, it just feels wrong and childish on my part. But this also feels on par with how they acted during their wedding planning. I think you would be wrong if you booked it on her birthday without asking, because I think that like the reasoning is when you're saying like, oh, this feels like on par with what they did, that is very like tit for tat. And like you were upset about that, but you also can't control. You can control your response with how they treated you with their wedding, but you can't control how like they react. So like you might see it as like a, okay, now we're even thing, but that's not up to you to kind of decide.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know what the rainy season is and how long it lasts, that like you couldn't just like, what's more important to you, the venue or the month that you're getting married? Because if you love that venue, if it's rainy in October, could you wait until May? Like, does it need to be in the fall? Like, can it be?
I mean, November.
Yeah, like, can it be pushed a little bit farther? Does that, like, what matters more to you? Like, the season, the venue, or what? Because, like, if it's September, like, then pick a different venue. And it just feels like if it rains on your wedding day and, like, it's an absolute mess because it is, like, the first weekend of October, and October is, like, more rainy than September. And, like, October isn't September. Like, you're still getting married after the month you wanted to. I just feel like there's a chance that a lot of things cannot go how you want them to. And one of those is including the reaction of your sister-in-law and your brother. So I think it's rude, like, especially because it just feels like you don't care about her birthday or you don't know what her birthday is. Like, if you ask, I also think that it's important that it's not an empty gesture of you asking and then you just go ahead with it anyway.
Yeah, because this is setting up anyway for years to come that your anniversary is always going to be on her birthday. So it feels like it's not just going to be, this is going to be like the wedding day thing. This is going to be every year. It's going to be something that comes up. It feels like that you're trying to justify you doing this because of how they treated you during their wedding, which I don't think is fair at all. Maybe they didn't foresee that things were going to get as chaotic. Maybe they tried to cut down costs for everything by not having you guys be part of their wedding. There might have been other reasons that maybe just because you were you felt blindsided at the time, but there were things that they didn't know were going to happen. So I would talk to them. I think it's wrong to play dumb, pretend like you don't know what's going on when you clearly do and you already think it's going to be an issue. Have a conversation with them. So yes, I do think you'd be wrong if you just went ahead and did it.
Unpopular opinion. I also think if you decide to have like a big wedding or like a wedding where it's not just eloping and about you two, the wedding is the wedding's about the other people who are attending. And like, you can't really say like, fuck it, it's about us, unless it is only about you two and you're going to a courthouse or you're eloping and it's just you two. Like it can't, by nature of like an event and that people have to pay to attend or like whatever it is. But like when you include other people, you can't just include them in like as like a ceremonial like gesture. Like it has to be like catered to that. And yeah, I also can't imagine you would have been happy if the exact same wedding situation that your sister-in-law had also happened to fall on your birthday. Like, I just don't think you would have been happy with that. And like, I feel like the only reason why you're toying with this idea, like you said, is because you feel slighted by how they behaved for their wedding and you feel kind of hurt. And yeah, I just think it's one day that I don't know that you will think is worth it to go through all of this shit for potentially years to come. Because again, it's not like your anniversary happened, like the date that you met happened to be the date that is her birthday. And like, it's your perfect venue. It's like never going to rain that time of year. And it's like on the day that you met and like the location is exactly where you met. Do you know what I mean? It's not this like serendipitous thing that like, it feels like you're already settling for like the timing of it all. So like, why then settle for her birthday?
Right.
If I was her, I'd be like, what? Like, just pick a different day or a different venue. Like if you can't wait a week to get married and like, cause you're just saying it's going to rain if I do it a week later, like just pick a different venue then. That's what I would say. So I do think you are wrong. My condolences.
Next one. Hey, Meghan and Melisa, love the podcast. I have an issue. Please let me know if I'm wrong. I, 24, female, she, her, have been talking to male, 28, he, him, for 2 months now. We text, phone call, FaceTime often. I'm in Texas. He's in New York. We would consider each other friends right now and are getting to know each other. We do like where things are, but ask a lot of relationship-like questions. He told me when we started talking that he likes snakes and spiders. I told him I hate them and I'm seriously arachnophobic. He understood and said, hypothetically down the line, he wants a place outside of his home when he has more money and moves where he could take care of them if he ever got them, which made me feel better. Well, today he went to an expo and bought 5 huge tarantulas. I asked him where they are staying and he said with him. I got so mad I cried. We aren't even dating yet. I spiraled to I don't want to be around them spiders. I'm so scared. What am I going to do if this goes further? I guess I have to stop liking him now Everyone can find love except for me. I'm a Cancer, he's a Virgo. The only thing I told him was, happy for you, but please never show them to me. He understood. I haven't talked to him for the rest of the day. I hate this because I'm starting to like him, but I am terrified of spiders and snakes. I don't know if I could ever live with him. Am I overreacting or no? And what should I do, especially if things move further down the line? Thanks in advance. I think you are overreacting. You guys aren't even dating. You don't even live in the same state. One of you lives in New York, one lives in Texas. You have no labels on your relationship. I don't think that he's thinking about you living with him at all. And so he did not factor you into what this, like him getting these what were they? Tarantulas. He didn't factor you into this because you guys aren't even dating. He doesn't see you living with him. Maybe, yes, down the line, if you guys were actually dating and spending time with each other in the same state and you were serious about each other, he'd be like, okay, I'll move the spiders outside the home. But at this point, I think you're overreacting.
I don't disagree with that. I do think that what this has kind of brought to light is that like you might see this as something a bit more serious than he does, because like you are envisioning moving there and like you're envisioning all this stuff without having those conversations. And that usually means that like, you know, you have like strong feelings for him. I mean, I'm just going to level with you. I think you're talking for 2 months with someone who like, have you ever met in person? We would consider each other friends, but we're getting to know each other. Like, it seems like you really like him and like you're kind of doing that like maladaptive daydreaming where like you're just like mashing your own life. And that is totally valid. And I think like we do that a lot. But this reaction is a reaction of someone who like clearly is kind of very into this person and envisioning your life with him. And so like you either need to be like, make a plan to like meet up and like actually date, or don't like put yourself through this like emotional turmoil by like having a talking relationship with someone who you know that it's never going to get to a relationship because there's like this big barrier there that is like these fucking spiders and snakes and all of that shit.
But also physically, they're nowhere near each other.
That's what I mean. But it's just like, of all of the things, so like I am all for having like a fun texting buddy for someone to like flirt with or whatever. But like, I just feel like this one just struck out. Like, I feel like this one is just not it, because if you are actually like wanting to eventually like date this person and like move there or whatever, like then to have them not be like a spider collector, and or even if it's someone you have no intention of meeting and like you don't want to date them or whatever, I think that your fear of spiders is too great to even just like talk with someone with no intention of meeting who is like very into spiders. And that's okay. Like, but I just think that like he's probably like, what is happening? Like, yeah. It's a lot for the current situation where you're at with like the lack of relationship. But yeah, I think you like him. Like, I think that you're picturing like, if you're picturing moving there, have you had that conversation with him? But yeah, I don't know. I don't love we're texting and talking and FaceTiming for 2 months and we're just friends, but we're seeing where it goes. I just don't trust people enough for that. I'm like, so are you sleeping with other people? Is he sleeping with other people? Like, would that make you upset? Like, what is happening? How did you meet? Why are you forming a friendship over text message? You know?
You're also half a country away from each other.
Yeah. What's the point? What's the end goal?
Mm-hmm. Like, are you going to move to him? Is he going to move to you?
Yeah. There just doesn't seem like a lot of intention behind this.
Yep.
I feel like this is a waste of your time.
Unless you just want a friend. But
I don't think you could be friends with somebody who collects tarantulas. Because you're spiraling, which is, it's totally.
All right. Let's take a break.
Woo!
You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. Fall is my favorite time of the year, and whenever it comes around, I'm making sure I'm bringing out my softest blankets, I'm making my favorite soups, really any excuse to use my immersion blender, and just generally making small adjustments in my day-to-day life to reflect the coziness and inherent transitional nature of the season. I love switching things up this time of the year, and that can include updating your makeup look. From a simple just gotta get out the door routine to festive fall glam or maybe even a Halloween look, Thrive Causemetics is your go-to for completing any fall look. Plus, every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin, not against it. My personal favorite product that I absolutely recommend adding to your makeup bag if you haven't already is the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. It's the only mascara I wear anymore. I have it in a brown shade, which just feels a little less harsh than a black mascara. And it's a tubing mascara, so it doesn't run or smudge, and it just makes my lashes look so beautiful and long without any clumping. My favorite part, because I got so tired of working hard to get every last bit of makeup off when I was using other mascaras, when it's time to take it off, it just slides right off with warm water. And something I love about Thrive Causemetics is that purchasing their products does more than enhance your own glow. With every purchase, Thrive Causemetics makes a donation to numerous causes, and they've given over $150 million in product and cash donations to more than 600 giving partners, so it really is beauty with purpose. Whether you're doing a total overhaul or just making the tweaks in your life to feel in line with the season, complete your fall look. Go to thrivecausemetics.com/thrive for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Causemetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/thrive.
From the darkest corners of our imagination comes a game show that's more ridiculous than terrifying. Welcome to Tickled to Death. I'm your host, Roz Hernandez, and I'll be guiding guests through the creepy questions and chaotic games, all to win the ultimate title of Horror Movie Champion. Listen to Tickled to Death wherever you get your podcasts, and hit follow unless you want the show to follow you.
We're back from...
It's okay. We can say it together. It's fine.
We're back from our break, and we're going to get into the rest of your submissions and the episode. Okay. Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I am a huge fan of both podcasts. Getting right into it. I'm 25 and my boyfriend is 24. We've been dating for about a year. He is so kind and supportive, and we treat each other so well, and we've even talked about eventually getting married. He is super close to his family, which I love, but I mean really close. He lives at home while saving for medical school. When he sleeps over at my place, his mom will call him just to check in and say she hasn't seen him in days when it's only been over 12 hours. I think she's awesome and she loves me, but this always seems kind of odd and annoying. But the worst is his sister. She's a very sweet 15-year-old, 10 years younger than my boyfriend, but acts much younger. As in, she will sometimes want to hold his hand at family events. They're very close, and he's even said that he wants her to be his best man at his wedding. That's sweet. She'll call when we're hanging out just to chat with him and tell him she misses him, and sometimes she gets upset that he's coming over to my place instead of staying home. He's frequently late or has to change plans because he's promised her he would do something with her. Anytime I broach the subject, he gets super defensive. Am I an asshole for thinking their family dynamic is annoying and a little weird, or do I just need to get over it? I think you're an asshole.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I think that deeming a 15-year-old is like acting younger than their age is gross. And I think it's also like arbitrary and has this like concept of like girls need to grow up fast and like be mature or whatever. And it's also like it has like it's a twinge of like, you know, sexism and expected ideas of girls, and also like a tinge potentially ableist if she's just happens to be, you know, a little bit more have a little bit of a younger spirit, and like you don't know what that's related to. And your own concept of like what a 15-year-old is like, you know what I mean? Like you can't, everyone's like very different and like develops at different rates. And I also think in general, when people tend to be around like family, you can fall into those like big brother, little brother kind of things. It's like when kids go home for like I don't know, go home for Christmas. Like they kind of adapt back to like their teenage selves.
Yeah. Like my sisters expect me when we go out to eat to pay for them.
Yeah.
Because I'm older.
Yeah. So if I was your boyfriend, I would also be like incredibly defensive.
My niece, who's the same age, calls me at least once a day. She says to check on me, but I know it's because she like wants to talk about things. But that's her way of saying, you know, I need to talk to somebody. But she calls me pretty much every day to see how I'm doing and talking about things that are going on in her life. And when I'm in Arkansas, then she's very like wants to hang out with me every moment of the day. So I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I think that this is totally normal behavior. And I think it's odd that you're jealous of his sister in this, especially a teenage girl in this context. And he's saying that he's like late for things because he's promised her something. That means that he had plans with her first and it just ran over. And I think you should just be more flexible and adaptable to that.
Yeah, I don't think you like how close he is with his family. I would also say that, like, I don't know if you want kids, but if you do, like, how would you feel if your son's girlfriend was saying this about, like, your son and daughter's relationship together? Mm-hmm. Like, it just feels odd. And I think when you're living at home and you're, like, saving money and all of that, like, there are expectations that come with that. And, like, yeah, calling in and checking in. If he doesn't have an issue with it, then that's on you. And like, you don't need to point out an issue that he doesn't have that's there. Like, he's a grown up. If he has a problem with all of this, like, it's his family. And unless unless like they're being horrible to you, like, you're not really involved in it. And then you are policing his relationship with his family, which like is probably not your intention, but is also a massive red flag for like potential future like alienation and abuse, is like, you know, cutting people off from their family or implying that like, you know, their family dynamics are wrong or weird or trying to take that away. And like, if you want to end up with this person, that all that is going to do is make his 15-year-old sister and his mom hate you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. And you also didn't mention if there is a second parent in the picture. You really specifically mentioned both mom and the sister. So if there is a dad there, you know, I would wonder why you specifically have issues with like the women, and or if they are, again, if there is a dad there, it seems like they are heavily relying on your boyfriend as a like male figure in the house. So that might also mean that there's some history there. And again, if it's a single parent household, yeah, like he sounds like a really like all this is done is I'm like, yeah, you seem like you found a really great guy, and don't mess this up.
Yeah,
in that sense of like. That would be a red flag to me if someone said that. I don't have that, but like if I did, you know?
Yep. To Melissa and Meghan. Since the situation happened, I've been dying to write in. My boyfriend's parents live across the country, and now that the pandemic restrictions are being lifted, they decided to come for a trip in our area at a ski resort. They really wanted to spend time with us, so they paid for our whole trip to see them. His parents have these rich friends who gain all their wealth from flipping houses in our city, which is also going through a major housing crisis. And they invited us over to celebrate a big sale they had made recently. My boyfriend and I are being impacted by this housing crisis, and I told him I would rather not attend this dinner because it feels so wrong to celebrate people who are getting rich while we can barely afford rent because of it. I'm very outspoken, so I would probably question them on their unethical practices, and I purposely gave him this out of me not going so there would be no judgment from his parents. He really wanted me to go anyways because his parents would think it's weird if I didn't. I understood his position and told him I could not promise I would act fake and civil, but I would try my best. Obviously, I ended up commenting on a few things, but I was gracious and polite the whole time. His parents took him aside the next day and asked him why I was being so rude, and now he is upset at me for starting something between them. Am I wrong for acting the way I did, even though I gave my boyfriend a clear out to avoid the situation? No, you're not wrong. You morally did not feel obligated to go to this thing. You warned him that if you went, then you would make your thoughts on the situation clear, and you did. So, you know, you told him your boundaries. You let him know what would happen. You were still polite, but not polite enough for him or his parent. And so now they're mad, but I don't think you're wrong. Who cares?
I don't think you're wrong either. I think that, like, yeah, there are certain times where, like, we're in situations we don't want to be in. And, like, obviously you don't want to make situations harder for, like, other people. But I also think of, like, the times that I've been in those things, we're all in it together. Like, if you haven't had this conversation with his parents, like, if this is your boyfriend just retelling that information and stuff, like, you might also have fundamental moral differences between with his parents. And, like, then that is something, like, to address. But, like, I think this probably should have been a conversation with all of them, because right now what I'm sensing is maybe your boyfriend was also kind of trying to protect his parents in this situation, that they might be not morally aligned with you on this. And then also, is he morally aligned with you on this? Because it kind of feels like you're the odd one out, and I wouldn't feel comfortable in that situation. Like, the only time I'm comfortable doing these things that I don't want to do, it's because I know the second we get in the car, we're all on the same page. Or I know that, like, when we make those comments, like, they're for each other to be like, oh my God, okay. Or, like, we'll say that and we can all make those, like, everyone can make those, like, little comments together, and we're all on the same team and we're all on that, but it's not, you know, just you versus this. Like, it's just, I think his parents are probably like that.
Yeah, but I also think that since he thought that his parents would be mad if she didn't go, I think it was his responsibility to tell them ahead of time.
Oh, 100%. And also, like, I think he's posing this as it's like, oh, these are my parents' friends, like, it's them. But I'm like, I don't think that you're probably being honest with yourself, that your parents also probably align morally with these people. And so instead of addressing that there are some extreme moral differences between your girlfriend and your parents, you're being like, oh, my girlfriend is being difficult because of my parents' friends, and now it's blah, blah. Like, no, they had a right their parents also had a right to know if this was going to be how you were going to behave. And that was his responsibility to tell them. This just makes me not trust your boyfriend, like, to be fair. And I wonder how he aligns with that stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, like, he might be, like, because he's affected by it, he's a little, like, on the same page, but not completely. Like, he's, like, half on the page with you, but because he's probably benefiting from it too.
Yes.
He sees it more like, at this moment, I can't think of a better example, and it's probably not what this is, but how a lot of people that vote for Republican don't realize that they're voting for things that don't benefit them.
Yeah.
Because they see how it could be down the line of what they...
One step away from being a millionaire.
And they think that this is something that's obtainable. So they see it more as a goal and something to, you know, aspire to, as opposed to fighting the system.
Yeah. And I think in general, people who have a close proxy to the ultra wealthy and to that system, not all, but a lot of the time, the animosity towards that usually comes not from, like, morals, but kind of comes from jealousy. And that is something that, like, is not permanent. And, like, lots of people can unpack that and, like, realize that, like, oh shit, I'm being jealous of something that's not, like, ethically or morally sound. But, like, when I grow up near it and I see all of this stuff, like, I really want that, because, like, that's aspirational. Mm-hmm. And then people who have never benefited from it by proxy, like, can see it for more, but, like, black and white of, like, good and bad. But yeah, I think this is probably a time to have, like, a conversation with your boyfriend about this.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing is just giving me, like, spooky, ooky, rich vibes. Like, you're at a ski resort and they paid, like, I don't like this.
But my main thing is, like, why do his parents care so much about you going to a party for their friends?
That's what I mean. Like, this whole thing just gives me, like, old money Kennedy, like, oh, we're, like, visiting you and, like, we're going to a ski resort for a week and you're going to stay here. And, like, now we have this dinner with our friend. Like, it's just very much, like, perform it, like, ha, 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 ha. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, I'm like, do you know enough about like his family and like their social circle that is this like a life that you want to have? Is this where he pictures his kids? Do you know what I mean? Like when you look at it as like a bigger picture thing, that like this one incident, I don't think has really much to do with anyone besides you and your boyfriend and like what your expectations are.
Yep. I mean, my family knows. My parents will be like, are you going to be an asshole about this thing? And I'll be like, and they already know. Like they're asking, but they already know the answer. And I was like, yeah. And they'd be like, okay, fine, don't come. You know, like they know what my boundaries and limits are. So whatever.
Yeah. No. And I think that like, unless your partner is like they're wanting to cut their family off, if you can't be yourself and like express your honest like feelings and opinions around your partner's family, that to me is like, okay, then you might want to recognize that you might not actually align with your partner as much as you think that you do. I've also, I will say, I've been in stuff, I've said stuff and like everybody knew I was going to say something. And I did. I've also gotten like little kicks under the table and I've just been like, I said it. I don't care. You can nudge me till I'm black and blue. I'm going to keep saying it.
Which is it probably happened because you bruise easily.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt.
Just one little tiny kick probably.
Yeah, not sorry.
Oh, I get pinched.
Oh, I can't. I hate that. Okay.
Now it's time for But Are They Wrong? AKA Rachel of the Week, where we pick someone in pop culture or just in the zeitgeist that we feel like has been the villain this week. So who you got?
So mine was something that someone actually tagged me in. Thank you. A couple people did. I don't know. I don't have their usernames on hand. But there's a movie being made, adapted from the book Where the Crawdads Sings. So I've heard of this book, but I didn't really know anything about it. So it's a kind of book that like, I don't know, you like see it at like the bookstores and it's like, oh, there's a little gold thing, like every book choice and blah, blah, blah. So like, I just know of the book and I've known like, oh, people like that book. I should eventually read that book, but I know nothing about like what it's about. And so I guess they're doing a movie adaptation of the book. And not only is the book problematic, but the author is like a level of, I don't even know if you can call it problematic other than alleged murderer. Like this isn't like some uncovered tweets. Like this is some like next level, like evil fucking shit. And I had no idea about this book. And I probably could have read the book just purely based on like people saying like, oh, this book is great, or like hearing about this book alone and doing that. But it is now being adapted into a movie. So the people who are adapting it into a movie, they are not just hearing about the book word of mouth, and they have to do the Google searches. They have to like meet with people. Like you have to do your due diligence with this. And when I tell you it is hard to avoid the mass documentation of how problematic the author and the book is, it's not an oversight. Like it can be an oversight for a consumer who's heard a friend recommended a book and then you just pick it up at the library, which again, I think we should all, and I've learned now, like all be doing our due diligence before I do it before I like support something publicly. Like I will look into that kind of stuff. But the ultimate thing of supporting something publicly is making a movie about it. And so the book is a New York Times bestselling author, blah, blah, blah. And the author is Delia Owens and her former husband, Mark. They are wanted for questioning over the murder of an unidentified man in Zambia and a previously called for human population control in Africa. So this is like a well-documented like article prior to this book being released. So in 2010, almost a decade before the book's release, The New Yorker published a lengthy article written by Jeffrey Goldberg called The Hunted, which details Delia's time in Africa alongside her then husband and his son. And the piece asks the question, did American conservationists in Africa go too far, as it explores the family's involvement in the death of an unidentified victim believed to have been a potential poacher? They've been wanted for this since this was aired in 1995. And there's also a Turning Point episode, and they were on The Tonight Show. So in one scene, the production company accompanies a patrol at the Owens Conservation, and a gun is fired at a trespasser. The scout who fired the shot has his face electronically concealed, and 3 more shots are heard off-screen as the man they shot dies. Delia's husband, Mark, appears to be dismissive of the death in an interview later in the documentary, saying, "It's the reality, the messy reality, I'm afraid." She responds, "It's very messy. It almost gives conservation a very ugly name, but that's the reality. It's ugly. Why? It's ugly because of the elephants. They haven't done anything wrong. It's people who make it ugly. It's a very dirty game. It's a measure of the desperation in the situation. The victim's identity was never revealed, nor was it ever confirmed that he would have been a poacher or a trespasser." So it is like alleged that they think that it is her ex-son-in-law, her ex-husband's son who shot it, and her ex-husband has also been accused of attempting to cover it all up. And there's just a absolute fuck ton of more shit that they have been accused of for all of this. And then we move on to their absolutely archaic ideas about Africans. So one critic allegedly claimed their mindset was nice continent, pity about the Africans. They called for human population control across all of that. So she wrote the book Where the Crawdads Sings. And so I, again, knew nothing about this book. And someone had pointed out, critics have pointed out since the book came out, how it has a lot of parallels between that story and the fictional one that she wrote. So trigger warning, this is some discussion and spoilers of the book ahead. I mean, trigger warning for talking about sexual abuse and spoilers for the book. But it's about a girl who lives in North Carolina and she prefers to be with animals instead of people, spends her time in the wilderness. And then a local football player is murdered, and then she's the suspect. But the big twist reveals that she did kill him, but it was only because he tried to assault her, seemingly offering a moral justification for a heinous crime. Which in itself, we've got Promising Young Woman, we have all of that. But when you parallel it with her response to someone who she was once married to or was once the stepmom of, murdering a poacher and justifying it as like a harsh reality, like murder as being a harsh reality of the poaching game that they partook in, it feels, again, like a moral justification, just in a way that is actually much more of a moral justification. Like those are not two of the same things. The author who wrote the New York piece said, "I got a copy of Crawdads, and I have to say I found it strange and uncomfortable to be reading the story of a Southern loner, a noble naturalist who gets away with what is described as a righteously motivated murder in the remote world." And then in addition to all of that, the Black characters in the book, Jumpin' and Mabel, are accused of being racist stereotypes, with one critic noting that they are the kind that are comforting to white people, but may prove disconcerting for African Americans.
AKA magical Negro is the term.
In the book?
That's just what it's kind of, I think it was coined by Spike Lee, but when you have Black people that are there just to facilitate white people and make them feel better about themselves, is called magical Negro. That's the term.
Yes.
Yes.
That makes sense. Yeah. So Reese Witherspoon is adapting this, and Taylor Swift has a song on the soundtrack. And both of them have been very vocal about how they are massive fans of the book. And I just am upset that there's like never been any excuse for me as a white woman and fellow white women to be ignorant, but it just feels like there's never been any excuse. And right now, especially, there's no hiding behind any of it. There's no justification. It feels, and always has been, but I think this is one of the most like blatantly, like this is like, feels very overtly offensive and violent. Like this just feels like a big fuck you and like just gross and so fucking avoidable. Like so avoidable to, again, the point you would have to go out of your fucking way to not read or see any of this stuff. And I think that the argument people are doing of like separating the art from the artist and like these people, like they don't know, blah, blah, blah.
There's no way that they didn't know.
There's no way they didn't know. And if they didn't know, then that means that they don't do their due diligence when they're researching their project. And that means they actually don't really give a shit about the projects they're attaching themselves to or doing that. And like, then it means that other people are doing all of the hard work for them, which I don't, that's not a compliment. Then you're saying that they're not actually doing any of the work. But then it's also saying that all of the people that they surround themselves with and hire on their team are people who look exactly like them, have the same viewpoints as them, or even worse, are telling them these things and then they're choosing to ignore it. Or they are not fostering a work environment where people feel comfortable sharing these things with them. It's just hard. And like, it's one of those things that like, I hate seeing like specifically Taylor Swift fans and Reese Witherspoon fans, but Taylor Swift fans, that's where more I see on like my For You page, justifying is separating the art from the artist when, you know, you're only doing that because it's her. You're not doing that for Casey Affleck. You're separating her art from the artist because you like her art. Mm-hmm. And that is just doing everybody a disservice. And I just wish we didn't make celebrities, again, as a Swiftie, as someone in the fandom, I wish we didn't make these people so untouchable and free from criticism, because all you're doing is enabling and hindering them from like growing and learning. And I just think that like that is their responsibility to do. But just, again, justifying and rationalizing all of this kind of shit is just like, it's so offensive for so many people, but it's also like so fucking offensive for like that man's family. And just like this shit that like you can't catch a break of like, this woman is now, she's blown up. She had a New York, like, wasn't that enough that she had a New York Times best-selling fucking book and like her and her husband got away with like murdering someone, and like that family never got to have justice or whatever semblance of justice they could have. And now it's going to be made, like now this is being made into a movie. And it's just like, it just feels like a circle jerk of white women and ignoring all of the actual problematic shit of it. And it's embarrassing. And that's why there's like a fucking vast majority of us who voted for Trump, because like, there's this, we hide behind feminism and like being like, I've been oppressed as a woman, and that only factors in select instances. And that's like the only time that we are not privileged is in a group of men. But even in that room, we're only not privileged if we're the only women there. It's only white women and only white men. Like that's it. But like any other room, like we have privilege, and it's just, I just hate this. It just makes me like, it just makes me upset, you know?
Yeah. Didn't they sell the company like a couple, like last year maybe? But she's still the head of it, yeah.
And she's a very heavily involved like person. And I just think that like people talk about like inclusivity and diversity as like, not as a box you need to check, but as like a hill you need to climb. And as if it's like really hard, and like that, like it would be like, I don't know. When I think of anyone who has like a team and it's just like all people who look exactly like them, like that's a conscious choice. Like your life is only as like tunnel vision of people who look like you because that's what you do. Like it's not happening to you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's what I was trying to see who, but it seems like they have it so you can't search for who actually works there. I'm looking on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And you can't see who actually works there, and they don't have who works there on their website either.
It's just disappointing. But yeah, I really hope that this is like a learning moment for them, and I hope that it's addressed. And yeah, I will also say that I saw a lot of people who are like using the defense of being like, why are we getting more mad at like Reese Witherspoon and like Taylor Swift than we are of like the actors who are in it? There is a huge difference between someone who is seeking out a book and optioning it, which is hard and really fucking expensive to do. It's a very like competitive market, and someone who is getting cast and getting a job on that. Like it is different, and it's not necessarily that means that they're completely absolved of fault. But, you know, if they're lucky enough and privileged enough that they have financially can turn down a role, I think that's great to do. And I do it all the time for auditions that are problematic, like with 100%. But there are some times when, yeah, you audition for things that you don't necessarily align with because you
need the money.
You need the money. But the people who are producing and doing all of this stuff, they are making so much more money than the actors in this, you know? It pisses me off. And also just the discourse of everyone defending it pisses me off. Like you can love Taylor Swift, you can love Reese Witherspoon and just be like, this was an L. I really hope that this changes. And I can't believe that fucking woman.
All right. So we're recording this on March 29th, 2 days after what has now been coined in quotations, the slap, like the failed TV show from a few years ago.
I was going to say, I was like, someone needs to pay to get that billboard back, but they just do the photos, and it's the entire, where it's like all of those people just standing there, but it's just all Will Smith and Chris Rock. I would die.
And so I'm not picking either of them because this is just a more nuanced conversation than that should be had, especially since we vote on these things and I just doesn't sit right for me with our majority white audience to be voting on this.
No, we'd be blocking so many people.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm going to pick Judd Apatow, who is someone who I don't particularly like most of his films because he punches down on women a lot and makes fun of his own wife a lot in his films, or just women in general. But I respected the work that he did to get to where he is and how he usually works with the same people and has been responsible for helping start a lot of people's careers. Mm-hmm. So I've read several of his books and I've taken a writing class that he's had. This is someone where, like I said, I don't like most of his films, but I respect him as a professional. And he said problematic things before and he just continues to disappoint. So he went off on a series of tweets after the slap and they've now been deleted. But of course, it's the internet and people are screenshotting because they knew it was going to get deleted. Mm-hmm. So the first tweet he said was, "Alert at Amy Schumer. Do not go to the Vanity Fair party. Will Smith wants to talk to you about the monologue. Chris, I think you should take him for all his Hitch money." So he's like saying that he didn't make any money off King Richard, saying to come after him for Hitch money.
Everyone needs to stop bringing Venus and Serena into the ship.
Yes, they do. Also, like, why is he, I guess because Amy Schumer was the white comedian that was there. He didn't at Wanda Sykes, who's also a comedian. I'll give Regina a pass from being included in that since she's not really a comedian. She's more of an actor. And then his next tweet. He could have killed him. That's pure out of control rage and violence. They've heard a million jokes about them in the last 3 decades. They are not freshmen in the world of Hollywood and comedy. He lost his mind. This is not the first time that Chris Rock has said something about Jada. He said things before. He's talked bad about her for boycotting the Oscars in the past when, they were kind of on the forefront of Oscars So White. So he's talked bad to her about that. Also, I just can't see myself defending a man that told Louis C.K. that it was okay for him to use the N-word and allowed him to use the N-word and called him the N-word. Also, a man that made a documentary about Black women and their hair and has profited from that. Also, a slap. I'm not saying that, like...
Dude.
Will Smith has trained to be a boxer when he was being Muhammad Ali. So, he could have whooped the shit out of him if he wanted to, but he slapped him against the face. So, there is no way that he was not going to kill him. Yes, he was wrong. And I'm not saying that he should have slapped him, but if he wanted to punch him in the face, he would have. This is also a man who, in his book that he wrote, it's in the first chapter, Will Smith's book, he talks about how when he was growing up, one of his biggest regrets was his father was abusive and he never stood up to his dad when his dad was abusing his mom. And he talks about one of his biggest regrets was not being there and standing up for his mom. And yes, people have been making millions of jokes about them for years, a lot of uncalled for jokes. And so he got tired of it. And I'm not saying it's okay, but he was tired of it. And this, again, Chris Rock is someone who has been making a lot of these jokes about their families. Also, Chris Rock has made a joke that sometimes people need to get their asses kicked. So
he said himself, nobody's above that, including me.
Yes.
Also, so yes to all of that. Mm-hmm. Anyone who didn't watch it, I'm sorry, you see, as soon as Mats and I saw that, I was like, is that real? Which was what everyone's narrative was. And then when we saw the extended one, Mats was like, oh my God, over this. I go, there's history in this yelling and their fate. There's something, there is long time contention. This is a boiling point, clearly and obviously. And you can just tell by how they're talking that they're not saying, Like he's repeating the same words.
Mhm.
It's like an acting exercise where it's like, what are your intentions behind that? You know that there's years of shit behind all of that. So the hypotheticals have actually been killing me. So,
you know, like the slap would have killed you.
Ready? Just a reminder that if Will Smith had slapped Betty White for a joke she made, however insensitive, she easily could have fallen backward, cracked her skull, and died of a brain bleed. Same with Bob Saget, obviously. Violence is never okay. And then I'm going to read you the one that really fucking, I was dying. You would not be laughing if Will Smith slapped Peppa Pig and then chopped her into tiny bits, added 3/4 of a cup of minced onions, a dash of paprika, and just a sprinkle of Gouda, then cooked her for breakfast on a warm Sunday morning in Delaware. Would you? Like, it is just like, I mean, here's the thing. I think that like a lot of people are having like very, this op-ed on Teen Vogue wrote about this, so we'll link it and I'll also read this, but it's an op-ed. Will Smith isn't your abusive daddy or ex-boyfriend, and Chris Rock is not an abuse survivor claiming to be triggered by a single slap. That there's a lot of people who are comparing this like to domestic violence and all of this kind of stuff that is not a situation. Like you have two fully grown adult men who got in a fight and got physical. And my belief system is, Jada, were you embarrassed? Did that give you the ick? Are you happy? Are you good? Like, that's literally all truly all it is. I'm like, because here's the thing. Are there instances where if Moss did that, I would be like completely upset with him and like so icked and be like, I hate you. Why would you do that? Yes. Are there instances where I would be like, thank you so much? Like, pull your pants down, like gluck, gluck. Yes. Like, Jada, how do you feel? Like, what was this? But like, just the fucking notion that people think it is like, oh my God, it is so much more important nobody is talking about how their line in the sand that they're drawing it down is violence, not ableism, and jokes about is not ableism. Like your hard line is physical violence. Your hard line is not ableism. And also verbal abuse and ableism, there is no ranking of what abuse is worse. But when you are doing that, especially in a fucking pandemic where all we have done is tell disabled people, like, we don't give a shit about you. This is like so absolutely fucked. And you know that these people, I mean, it would be a much different tune if they were two white guys, but also would it be a much different tune if Jada had lost her hair due to cancer? No one would have had an issue with that. But nobody thought this was a joke because it wasn't a joke. It was a dig.
Right.
It was an ableist dig, and it was intentionally for that. Nobody laughed. Nobody in that room fucking laughed, and he knew. There's nothing funny about that. G.I. Jane is such an old fucking move. It's not good. He's a better comedian than that, which we all know. So it's not a joke. It's not a joke that didn't land. It was an intentional dig that landed as he intended it to do. And then what the fuck did you think was going to happen?
Right.
If you, the idea that you think that you can say ableist shit and you're not going to get slapped, that's on you. That's on you. That you think that you are so fucking comfortable to spew horrible, stupid fucking ableist shit. And you are so comfortable in that room that you think nothing's going to happen to you. Tough fucking shit. Tough fucking shit. Like, I truly, it just makes me so fucking mad that people have this like I said, this line in the sand that like, this is too far. This is too far. No. You don't get to make that call. You don't get to make that call. And this idea that like, well, if we're condoning violence here, blah, 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 like we're condoning violence everywhere. Really? This is giving me police brutality vibes.
Right.
This is giving me that vibe because like, and I've seen so many white people, but white liberal people who like, this is like, oh my God, and every single one is riddled with racism and riddled with ableism. Like they're just two birds, one stone. And just like, shut the fuck up. If you have ableist and racist views in this, you don't even realize that they are, just literally sit down and be quiet. Like, it's not the hot take that you think it is. This isn't like empowering as like what you think it is at all. All you're doing is having people who are disabled or are not white reading this shit being like, oh, cool. Okay. So you can make jokes at my expense. But the second that I retaliate, you think that my reaction is not, you don't think that that's worth it. You think that, no, that's not worth it. The jokes are fine. Take as much verbal abuse as you want. Take as many digs as you want. And then you can't do anything about it. Also, hot take. I think it's great that comedians are now afraid that the next time that they say something offensive, someone's going to walk on stage and slap them. Amazing.
As they should.
Amazing.
Because it's not funny. You can be funny without offending someone, without making fun of someone because of a medical condition, there are other ways to be funny. And like, why would you? Jada wasn't up for any awards. Why are you even acknowledging her?
G.I. Jane's not even fun. Like, that's not even like a relevant joke.
And let me read the next Judd Apatow tweet. Seems like Will Smith's plan to get comedians and the world to not make jokes about him is not going to pan out. The Williams family must be furious. So you're just guessing, speculating how people feel? Pure narcissism. Also, G.I. Jane was gorgeous. What exactly is insulting about being compared to a ripped, stunning Demi? Okay, Jada is ripped and stunning as well. Like, there shouldn't be a comparison.
But also, Judd, where's the joke there?
There's
You're
no
not
joke
even
here.
saying it like it's a joke either.
Yeah.
Like, we all know that this isn't a joke. And you're choosing to see it as a compliment.
Also, G.I. Jane chose to buzz her. I mean, she had to because of it's a war movie, but also that was a decision that she made. Jada has like patches of hair missing. And so she shaved her head so that she wouldn't have clumps of hair missing.
And I hate this whole thing of like, well, maybe he didn't know. Maybe he didn't know. No, Hollywood is small. You know. Hollywood is small. You know. And again, you looked at their eyes and you heard them during that slap. They know each other. They know each other. It was a personal dig.
Yeah, it was personal. And then here's his final tweet, or there were more, but this is the last one I'm going to read. I have more hair on my back than on my head, and I can take a joke about it. It's not the same fucking thing. It's because he kept triple and double downing on all these things, and now he's let out a half-ass apology that, like, you don't actually mean this apology because you kept going on about what you were saying. And this was after he was responding. That tweet is actually a response to someone else that said, I have hair loss issues, and that is unhinged behavior.
Also, you can have alopecia as a side effect or as like a comorbidity with a ton of other things. So like this notion that's like, well, it's not deadly. First of all, anyone who suffers from alopecia or any medical condition, disability in general, it is your choice and your own case is always going to be different. And how you view it will be different than other people who are literally experiencing the exact same thing. But you don't get to like police who is more or less valuable, whose disability is more or less valuable in your eyes.
And Black women get policed about their hair all the time, to the point where just a few weeks ago, a law was passed that you can no longer discriminate against women. It's called the Crown Act, about their hair.
And Chris Rock made a whole fucking movie about it. That's why it's a dig. Because you as an audience member might not know it's a dig because you don't know the history of this. If you're a white woman watching this, you don't know that history. You don't know that he produced that movie. You don't know that she had struggles with alopecia. You don't know that they definitely know each other. Now that you know all of this information, he knows all of that information. That's not a joke.
And stood on the fucking stage in front of millions of people who were watching across the world. That's how we got to see the extended clips, because they weren't on a 10-second delay like that we are in the US. He did that on purpose after he's been making digs at them for years. And this is the first time he's done it to their face.
But the last thing I'll add to that, even though this is your thing, but, you know, now the Oscars, the Academy is like, you know, rumored to have been, I don't know if they made an official statement that people are calling for them to remove Will Smith's Oscar. And someone pointed out wonderfully saying, wow, Roman Polanski and Woody Allen still have so many Oscars. Interesting.
Yep. And
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was this one TikTok that I was like, this I relate to. And it was this guy going, you know what? But I've learned in the last couple of days, echo chambers are not bad. I like my echo chamber, and I don't want my echo chamber to ever touch your echo chamber. It's embarrassing.
But that's it.
Yeah,
it was like 25 minutes long.
It just makes me so upset.
Can't wait for the Red Table Talk. That will inevitably happen.
Yes. Okay, that is it for this episode. Again, if you want to go vote, head on over to our Instagram stories. Make sure you follow us there so you know when we post, when the votes are all up. And yeah, go comment on the latest Instagram post who you would like to nominate for your Rachel of the Week. And let us know anything else you want us to talk about in these episodes. Again, always tag us in things. Subscribe, leave a review. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, that's it. And we will circle back next week. Goodbye. But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melisa DeMonts, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
Welcome and enter if you dare. Hi, I'm Hallie Keeper.
And I'm Allison Leiby. And together, we're the hosts of Ruined, a scary movie podcast where Hallie tells me the grisly details of a haunting new horror film each week.
Whether you're a terror hound like me or a scaredy cat like Allison, we've got so many thrills, chills, and obviously kills to share with you in every episode.
It's the podcast that'll have you saying, that was so funny. I should not have listened to it at night with all the lights off.
From the greats like The Exorcist and Poltergeist to modern classics such as Hereditary and Get Out to the freakiest new releases like A Quiet Place and Terrifier, we ruin them all and we'll leave you howling, mostly from laughter, sometimes because you're turning into a werewolf.
Ooh. Listen along as I try and guess the movie's twist, predict who will survive, and answer the hardest question of all. What would you do?
So please listen to new episodes of Ruined every Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And whatever you do, we're begging you, please
keep it spooky.
There are vampires out there. They walk among you, shoulder to shoulder in the dark. Heading to work, heading home, going to the bar. It's a life just like anyone else's, and I have grown used to it. To the darkness, to the moon, to the taste of blood on my tongue. But vampires are dying out. We are a fading kind, and I am the first one created in so long, and that is a dangerous thing to be. Those who came before me, elders of all stripes, they do not want to see our kind gone, and they will do anything to keep their power. And for myself, and for Grace, who created me, that is a sword that hangs above our heads. And the worst person of all carries our secret, and he will use it however he sees fit. Who do you look to when things are at their darkest? From the creators of Parkdale Haunt comes Woodbine, a podcast about monsters, dreams, and changes, those you want and those you never saw coming. Season 2 arrives September 24th, distributed by Realm.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Tom.
Okay, so you want to tell him, or you want me to tell him?
No. I got this. People out there.
Yeah.
People, lean in. Get close. Listen, here's the deal.
We got big news.
We got monumental news. We got snacktacular news.
Yeah, after a brief hiatus, my good friend Michael Ian Black and I are coming back.
My good friend Tom Cavanaugh and I are coming back to do what we do best.
What we were put on this earth to do.
To pick a snack.
To eat a snack.
And to rate a snack.
Scientifically.
Emotionally.
Spiritually.
Mates is back.
Mike and Tom Eat Snacks is back.
A podcast for anyone with a mouth.
With a mouth. Available wherever you get your podcasts.